Hey guys, Pete Weintraub, permanent weight loss specialist here. Today's video asks you a very simple question. Would you rather spend $1,000 on an iPhone X or $1,000 on better health? Obviously, most people will go with the iPhone. I'm going to explain why that's a foolhardy endeavor, particularly if you don't exactly have a lot of money to throw around. So I came across a interesting, I guess you could call it a meme. It might just be an image. I'm not really sure what you would call it, but I was scrolling through my news feed yesterday and I subscribed to the Real Pharmacy page, pharmacy with an F, not a PH, and they had this interesting pictograph. So here it is. And it says, T-minus 6 weeks until people will pay $1,000 for an iPhone X and then complain that eating healthy is too expensive. Now, this really got me pissed off, and mainly because it's true. Now, look, I'm an Apple aficionado. When I saw that the iPhone X doesn't have a home button anymore, that it had face recognition software, that it had a wireless charging station that's, I guess, on par with the new age of Apple products, from the iPads to the watches to the AirPods and so on, I thought it was pretty cool. The Animojis, though, Jesus Christ, what the fuck? Are people that crazy that they really care that much that they're going to pay $1,000 for a phone and Animojis is one of their main selling points? That's pretty pathetic that that much time was spent during the sales presentation, but they do quite a bit of investing into their market and understanding their market, so I'm sure it wouldn't have been mentioned to the extent that it was were it not an issue. But anyway, I still don't understand emojis, let alone Animojis, but we'll get out of that and back into this. So obviously a lot of people will say that, well, I'm probably not going to pay $1,000 out of pocket. Most cell phone companies these days will allow you to pay them in installments so you can get the new phone. And then I know for me, because I got the iPhone 7 earlier this year, I had an iPhone 5 for a few years and it just crapped out. It wasn't updating anymore. I needed to get a new one. So I used T-Mobile, I went to the T-Mobile store, and they got me a new iPhone, and it's about $40 a month to pay it down over, I don't know how many months it is, but it tacks $40 on to the end of my typical monthly cell phone bill. And a lot of people say, well, $40 isn't a lot of money every month. It might be less for you, it might be more. I don't know what your plan is, what company you use, what situation it is, but you get the gist. And I'll say to that, sure, I guess that's true. But for some people, that's a week's worth of groceries. That's even maybe not a week, maybe it's a few days, half a week's worth of groceries right there. And a common complaint that I get from a lot of people, whether they work with me, they have worked with me in the past, or they don't work with me, is that getting healthy is too expensive. If you're in a gym membership, which isn't necessary, we've established that on many different shows, but you're getting a gym memberships these days for as little as $10, which if you live in the industrialized world, even if you're at the poverty line, $10 isn't that big a stretch. Healthy groceries, and yes, if you buy organic, and I recommend that you do, you don't want pesticides and herbicides on your produce, nor do you want meat that has been pumped with antibiotics and hormones. And luckily now here in the United States, they don't allow that anymore with poultry, whether it's chicken or turkey. So you get a little bit of a break on that. But if you want red meat of any kind, whether it's bacon or beef, then unfortunately you're going to have to pay extra for organic. Otherwise, you're putting yourself at risk. And it's really an argument that I'm not fond of. I'm really not. Everybody has a shiny object system. I know I used to be. And look, if you live in a lot of the industrialized world and you're lower middle class to affluent, then you're a consumer. You've been taught since you were a child, and since the 1970s here in this country, we've been taught to be consumers. Rack up credit card debt, get that new shiny object. You deserve it. It's the American way here in the States. If you're elsewhere, I'm sure there's some similar patriotic babble about the same crap. And that's just how it is. And unfortunately, it does you a lot of disservice. It's a lot of money out of your pocket that you weren't anticipating on spending that month. And it can be allocated better. Now, the most successful people in the world, whether it's someone who has lost a lot of weight, like myself, I've lost 100 pounds and I've kept it off because the ways that I learned to eat and the ways I learned to exercise still apply today, even though it's been a few years since I lost the weight. But completely lost my train of thought. Give me 1 second to get back here. But yeah, it's money that doesn't need to be spent on that. And the most successful people invest in themselves, meaning if you want to make more money, they find ways to use the money that they have to invest. Whether they own a business, they invest it back into the business, whether it's through advertising, marketing, business coaching, something that will help get them over the top. It could be someone investing in stocks. If you're knowledgeable about the stock market and you're good at picking up stocks, whether it's day trading, short-term investing, long-term investing, you'll take little money you have, find some stocks and give you a great return, and you'll go in on that. And the people who have the most money in the world, who are most successful, who reach their goals, continually invest in themselves and in bettering areas, especially if those areas at present are either deficient or they're just not where they want to be. And for myself, I do that for my business. I invest in marketing and advertising. I also invest in a business coach because I'm young. I'm 29. I'm not a well-rounded, well-versed entrepreneur as of yet. I've learned quite a bit since I started my business, but there's still a ton that I need to learn. And I feel that those investments will help me reach my financial goals faster so I can continue to reinvest into my business. Any month where I get a nice surge in unexpected revenue in the fall, into September, October are good times here in the health and fitness industry, then I will reinvest in the business. And if you look at my personal expenses, you'll probably find, if you were to categorize all the different things I spend money on, I invest in my health more than anything. Food is probably my number one expense every month. It just is. I'm a big guy. I'm 6 feet. I eat a lot of food. I'm very active. I work at, I do personal training with people. I play sports. I work out 5-6 days a week. I'm extremely active. I'm on my feet all day. I'm hungry a lot. And I eat a lot when I do eat. So I make sure I stock up on real, whole, healthy, organic foods, which unfortunately, while it's not as cheap as getting a frozen dinner or some garbage, there's a bunch of fast food around me. Just up the street here, we got a Taco Bell. Up the road, in the back here, we got McDonald's and Burger King and KFC and a whole bunch of other crap. And I don't touch that stuff. And can I save a good amount of money, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars every month on food if I were to just eat there and invest my food money there? Yeah. But what is the alternative? The alternative is I'm going to get heavy again, which is going to hinder my business, because who's going to look at an overweight guy who's preaching permanent weight loss if he couldn't even permanently keep the weight off? It can lead to disease. And I've mentioned several times, I've a lot of people in my immediate family and my extended family have had bouts of heart disease, autoimmune disease, various forms of cancer, and even neurological conditions like Alzheimer's. And I firmly believe that while, yes, you can be genetically predisposed to any of those conditions, you can, through the study of epigenetics, you can reverse your genetic code, or at least prevent the gene from being activated so that you don't suffer the same fate that a lot of your ancestors and your family members before you did. And that's exactly what I do. So I'll spend the extra money on groceries, even if it is, like I said, hundreds, if not thousands of extra dollars a month that I wasn't, that I could easily spend somewhere else. I'll reinvest it into my business. I'll find ways to make my money work for me. And investing it in a phone, the only reason I got my current phone and I'm paying it off in monthly installments is because my old one crapped out, like I mentioned earlier. So I would like an iPhone X, sure. At this point, that's not an option that's really feasible. And if I have to choose personally, which I do, between paying an additional $1,000 ultimately in this phone, or $1,000 in continuing to get healthy groceries from me, getting treatments when I need it, whether it's acupuncture, chiropractic, massage, whether it's sometimes in the winter, I will get a gym membership, even though I'm not a fan of gyms. I like to work out outside a lot. And unfortunately, in the winter months here, it's like a tundra. It's very cold, very wet, very slick. You don't really want to be outside. So I'll work out in a gym over the winter. Once spring comes around again, I won't. So I'll invest in a gym membership. And I'd rather spend $1,000 a month. I mean, it's not a month, but I'd rather spend my $1,000 on bettering my health. Still, at this stage, even though I got to my goals, I've stayed there. Now I teach others how to do it, rather than getting an iPhone X. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't value themselves in that way, and they wonder why they're in debt. They wonder why their health is failing. They wonder why they're overweight. And the reason for it is because with whatever money they have, whether they have a surplus of money or they have a very strict budget, they're splurging on a shiny object that in a couple of years is going to be obsolete. And I mean, obviously you can keep it and sell it years down the road and make, I'm sure, a hefty profit on it from an Apple collector or something like that. But you know, that's a long-term investment that's only going to pay you off financially. It's not going to give you much beyond an intrinsic or financial reward. Here, if you're bettering your health, you're not only going to help yourself intrinsically because you're just going to look and feel better every single day, but you're going to be able to function better. You're going to be able to think more clearly, do better at work, do better in your relationships, and just do better in life in general. So again, if you are going to get the iPhone, I'm not saying you shouldn't. Again, I'm an Apple aficionado. I have practically every Apple device. I'm actually recording this for you right now on a MacBook Pro. I got an Apple Watch. I got an iPhone. All right. So I got a good amount of Apple products. I had AirPods that I lost on a trip. We don't talk about that. But yeah, if you can afford to do both, great. But for those of you, which is most people, that you got a limited budget, and you have to decide whether you're spending that $1,000 over the next several months on a phone versus spending it on your health, you got to go with your health. I hope you found this motivating. I hope you found this helpful. So do me a favor. If you like this video and you want to see more, please click the subscribe button below. I'm going to be filming these for you just about every day, Monday through Friday. There may be some breaks in between, but I'll try to get you one out every day of the work week. And also, I want to give you a free report. It details the 5 strategies that I personally used to lose 100 pounds and keep them off. All you got to do is go to weightlossbypete.com. That's the homepage of my website. Just download the PDF that I have there. All you need to do is put in your name and email address, and you're off to the races. It'll be emailed to you in your inbox. You can also check out my website and book a strategy session if you feel you need some coaching in more direction in terms of your health and weight loss journey. For that, I'm Pete Weintraub. I'm a permanent weight loss specialist, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Take care.